What specific problems since you became housing minister have you found the most frustrating or difficult to get to grapples with? Obviously, you've been in the job for a couple of months, and naturally when you take on a new role like that, you're going to be presented with new challenges. Is there any part of the job that you're finding particularly onerous when it comes to actually getting housing delivered and solving the problem?
I think that over the last number of years, we've made a lot of decisions that I think were very good in isolation with really good intentions. But when you add them up, what we've actually done is to tied ourselves in regulatory knots, and have made it extremely difficult to actually deliver the homes that people need. And you see the frustrations with local authorities, you see the frustrations with developers and builders, you see the real frustration of families who I meet every single day of the week who cannot get the homes that they need, as I say, whether to purchase or whether to rent. So what I'm trying to do is clear away the red tape as much as possible and also address the viability issues. So as I say, we've made decisions to save existing planning permissions. We're now looking at maximising planning exemptions to take the workload away from planners so they can focus on the delivery of housing units across the country. And now looking at that mix of delivery within the apartment blocks. Now, which I should say add actually, because I've listened to some commentary, the way we're going to do this in terms of the apartment mix and change, we're going to do it by way of allowing a redesign in the internal envelope of the building without having to go back for new planning permission. So if there's a current planning permission and there's up to 50,000 planning permissions or for housing units or apartments across Dublin, that you'll be able to change the internal mix without having to go back for planning permission. So we won't see the delay that some people are afraid of in terms of maybe a developer going back for new planning permission. You'll be able to do this quite quickly and then drive on with the delivery of those apartments.
Would you be able to give a specific example of a regulatory measure that seemed like a good idea that was brought in recent years, but that actually has led to these kinds of difficulties that you're describing?
Well, I think in fairness, if you look at the cultural piece for apartments in Dublin, I think that was very well intentioned by councillors in Dublin. I know why they're doing it. Those spaces are really important. But I think doing it by way of a levy on the delivery of apartments, which ultimately increases the costs of delivery of apartments, as I say, for renters or for purchasers. I think that's a kind of an example. So it is. But I think from the Department of Housing's perspective, I think the lack of planning exemptions. When you look at it, for example, take transport. The erection of a bus stop sign is planning exempt. The erection of a bus stop cover is not. So you have to go for planning permission. And you think about the workload from the Department of Transport, from the NTA, from the local authority, having to go through an entire planning process just to put up a bus shelter. And that's why we have so few bus shelters around the country. It's one example. Another example in my own county, where Wexford General Hospital had to go for planning permission for a small extension to put in an MRI scanner, which held up the delivery of an MRI scanner. I want to see all of this kind of cleared out of the system so that planners can focus on what they should be doing on delivering large-scale housing developments. So there's just a couple of examples.
And so at the end of your term as minister, would you hope that this will have a really transformative effect, that in 3 or 4 years' time, that when we come back, that this will have revolutionized the way housing is delivered and not just housing but bus shelters and infrastructure and all of that?
Well, my aim is to transform how we deliver housing in this country while maintaining the highest of standards. So, for example, what we're bringing to government today will not affect fire standards, it won't affect disability standards, it won't affect environmental standards. But I sat down through the department and poured over the plans for apartment delivery in this country and worked out how we can get the mix changed to help make it more viable. We need to transform. I, as a minister, we as a government need to transform how we deliver housing. We can't keep doing what we're doing. If we keep doing what we're doing, we won't get the changes we need. We've gone from 20 to 30,000 homes a year. We need to get up now to 50,000 homes. That's going to require a radical reset. And that means activating the private sector. The government is already delivering approximately 50% of all the homes in this country. We want to deliver more social homes, more affordable homes. But to get up to 50,000 and beyond, we need to activate the private sector. And that's the sector that really is not active in this country, certainly not to the degree it was before.